So my number two, one, it's fun to say, but there are reasons beyond that, is Lake Titicaca. So this is in Bolivia or Peru. Now, this is probably not a dive that I'm just going to do. It's not like you book it and you go, right? Because number one, it's one of the highest lakes in the world. I think it's something like 4,000 meters, which 4,000 times three, what's that, 12,000 feet, right? Did we just do math on the show? Wow, there we go, 12,000 feet, somewhere around there.
I don't want to do math.
Yeah. So it's, something like, 12,000 feet above sea level, somewhere around there, which is crazy, right? So one, you're altitude diving, right? And also you need to get there. So there's that whole process of acclimating to the heights that exist there. But it's super interesting because it is part of an area that's the earliest known kind of pre-Columbian port in the Incan world. And so when you talk about, the Incan temples and history and all of that roots itself in Peru and Bolivia and that part of the world, this lake is kind of the port, right? The pre-Columbian earliest ports that's there. And there's been few expeditions there. There have been some that are officially funded, I think, and they've taken things out of there, but not a lot, obviously, because it's not a recreational, go on a weekend or a trip type of dive site. So that's interesting to me. There isn't a scuba shop there to do your gas fills. So that the logistics of planning this thing are just massive. And it would be, I think, a really interesting thing to take on, is one of the parts that interested to me. The other part of it is I think that there's still a lot to look at. I think there was a death already of an archeological diver there because of those logistics and all of the things that go into the elevation and the conditions. I think I remember reading about that, and that's sad. And so again, you have a level of danger that I tend to enjoy, which I really shouldn't, but I tend to enjoy having to think through those things and really prepare and be well trained for it. But some of the things that they've found, there is they've done some carbon dating on some of the bones, and they believe them to be victims of human sacrifice. And they date them somewhere between the 8th and the 10th century, wow. Right? Somewhere in there. So there's a lot of unique history there, and there's a lot of collaboration that has to happen between the underwater archaeologists and the indigenous communities of the area, because it's not just about, the understanding of history. It's also the cultural relevance. And a lot of times that cultural relevance has spiritual, religious, or ancestral charges to it. So it's just a really, I don't know, I like complex things that not a lot of people can do. And Lake Titicaca is one of those that it's not accessible to the public. It's going to be one of those things that you get lucky, and it's a lifetime experience to be able to do that. So it made my list for those reasons. I don't know the dive profile. I don't know the depth of water or even what the site layout looks like and how they've explored it. But I've seen photos, and it's just such a foreign dive site to anything else that you see diving related, that it just really sparks my interest. And if I can, train and I'm good enough to be able to be on an expedition like that, that's something that I would definitely entertain being able to